So, I've been working on my own AI, calling it CopyCAT AI. And what it is trained to be an expert in software. And so, what it's able to do is you can show it a piece of software, and it is able to copy it completely. And not only a piece of software, basically anything. So, you show it Netflix, for example, and it would be able to look at Netflix, be able to figure out what the code is for Netflix, write the code itself, and then copy all of the movies from Netflix into its own system. And so I'm kind of hesitant to release it for a number of reasons. So for one, the implications of a technology like this. So for one, the benefits are amazing. So if there exists a website that can just take and like copy any other website and just make it available for free, well then you don't have to pay for Netflix. You don't have to pay for any software. You don't have to pay for Photoshop, right? Because mine, I can just look at Photoshop, just download the executable, figure out how to do it, and then give it away. Take out all that annoying stuff that makes you have to pay them, pay Adobe, and then now everyone in the world just gets Photoshop for free. And not only that, the software would have such a good understanding of the code that now it can create new features, it can fix bugs, it can like just from purely using a computer point of view, having like this would make computing actually work and be something that you can get stuff done with. You don't have to worry about having to pay for stuff. And I don't have access to this because the AI can just copy anything and just make it available. So that stuff doesn't matter. And so, like from the computing perspective, from the humanitarian perspective, from like the information perspective of making stuff free and available and helping people, like this seems like the most amazing technology we could create. And but then at the same time, you release something like this, and then it's like everything changes for the better, but like it's not just movies and TV and like copy and like let's copy and make it Twitter and well, let's talk about that, right? So let's say my AI can copy anything, right? So it can copy Twitter and make a new version of Twitter available. Okay, so if you're using my AI web browser, when you type in Twitter, now you don't go to Twitter, now you go to my Twitter, the one that I've copied. And since it's been copied, I have the control over it. I can do whatever I want with Twitter. And so I can make it so that there is no censorship on it. And or on any social media platform for that matter. And so philosophical implications go censorship aside, I think the one thing about censorship everyone agrees on is like who gets to say what gets censored. And so How can you say what gets censored if you can't enforce censorship? Because I can just delete your censorship rules. I can just copy Twitter. I can enforce my own censorship rules on it. I can do whatever I want, right? And they have banking. Aren't banks fucking annoying? Like, oh, they just copy the bank website and then just make the money add up better. Like, make it add up all for me. And that's another interesting aspect. It's like, okay, so if you make something like this, well, who would control it? Okay, well, at first it would be me, right? Because I created it, and so I'd put in all these things to say, like, with this AI, so that well, only I have all the control over. I choose what I copy. I choose how everything gets displayed and presented. But then, well, someone else can just use my AI to copy my AI, just like I was going to do with Photoshop, and they can take out all of the little bits and bobs that link it all back to me, and now they make it so that I can't have control over it, and they have control over it. and so, okay, well, I'll just do the same thing back, and so it's very interesting. I'll give you a demonstration of it right now, but you might copy it. It's interesting, the conversation with AI is like, oh, maybe it can make movies for us, TV shows or music, or why are we focusing on that with AI? Where is that coming from? And like yes, that stuff is cool, but wouldn't it be cool to make an AI that just helps people to do stuff? Like, so where is this coming from? Where it has to be that it has to be something we can talk to. It has to be something that can generate art. And so, with one thing, you have the Star Trek computer, which has gotten into people's heads. And so they're like, okay, well, we see this thing, the Star Trek computer, you just talk to it and it does whatever you want. And so that's what sci-fi tells us technology is, so that's what technology has to be. And so if we were making a computer that's going to be very smart, that means that it has to be that we can talk to it, and like that's just how computers work. And so like that line of thinking, like sort of making sci-fi real, it's definitely a good inspiration and can make a lot of cool stuff. Like that's kind of where the cell phones come from, right? You see the cell phone in Star Trek first, and then you see that it's possible, and then you can once you see that it's possible, then you can make it. But if you don't even see that something's possible, you can't even know that it could be something you could build. That a cell phone would be something that would be possible until you see it in Star Trek. And so you wouldn't even know that a computer that you could talk to would be possible without seeing it in Star Trek. But then at the same time, trying to obsessively be like, that is the only goal for AI. We will achieve AI once we have said that we're able to talk to it. I think It doesn't make sense. And like another part of where that line of thinking comes from is from Alan Turing, and because everyone's put him up on this pedestal because he invented computers, and so like of course he wasn't dumb, but like you have his whole thing of like how do you prove that something that a computer is intelligent, comes up with this whole complicated scenario of having a person sit down in front of a computer and then having a computer sitting down in front of the computer, and both of those computers are hooked up to another computer screen, and then if they're both talking to someone else who is talking to that computer screen, and would you be able to tell if the computer you're talking to is the computer hooked up to the computer or the computer hooked up to the person, and like what are you even talking about? Like that's yes, there's cool philosophical stuff you can pull out of there and whatever and whatnot, but like I don't think talking to computers is all it's cracked up to be. But anyways. So where is this misdirection in the AI development coming from? And so we have the whole aspect of fantasy, Star Wars, or the Star Trek. We also have right, like why does it have to be art? Why aren't we just making it so that like I can buy lots of food and shit? Like, so another problem here is the military and the billionaires, and so they both have the same problem, which is people, right? So damn people, they gotta sleep, right? They can't just work all the time. They gotta like have breaks and stuff, and one dies, and you gotta fucking spend all this money and do a big memorial for them, and it's this whole thing, and it's demoralizing, and then other people that knew them can't work, and people. If we just didn't have to deal with people, man, and we'd live our billionaire lives here, and everything would be fine. And people, they can also just be kind of annoying. You got these artists, and they're always writing all this stuff about us, all this stuff we're up to. And they're always writing these funny songs and these movies about how bad we are and how horrible we are. How bad the military is, how horrible billionaires are. Jeez, it'd be nice to get some good marketing here. And it's like the solution to all of their problems is AI. So, you put an AI, you put that in a robot, and then you can have that robot go over and it can fight the wars for you, and then you don't have to worry about, having to care about humans. Wouldn't that be nice? And gotta pay these people to make this movie, and they want it to have this message in this direction, and I want it to have this message in this direction. Wouldn't it be easier to just say, computer, make me this movie that does this, and it does it? And I think it's a interesting thing to consider. Like, is that what we as people really want? It's like I just want access to good housing, clean water, good food, cool little gadgets that solve problems that I have. Be able to make connections with people around me, people I don't know, trade with people. Like, the last thing I need is shitty computerized musician, or like, why do I need this? Why would I want to work on something like that? I don't need that. That's what the billionaires need. That's what the military needs for all their horse shit. And then with CopyCAT, you can do that too. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, you're just looking, instead of looking at software, you just look at the movies and figure out how to copy those, and yeah, sure, you can do that too, whatever, but nice to just live.